Hey, this is Mike and it's Old Religion Dystopia. It is allegedly the 16th of May 2022. It's 12:30 a.m. and I got some great stuff to share with you. I apologize for the sound of the fan, but I can't help it. I'm sick. I got heat intolerance from the quote-unquote multiple sclerosis, which came from a death injection from 2009. The same stuff that's going on today. I got some very important information for you, and I hope you hear what I have to say. I don't hate anybody, first of all, and I don't really I'm not at war with anybody. And there's other people who are going to find that I'm at war with you, or because you don't agree with what I'm about to say, or something like that somehow we're at war with each other. Please. We must, those of us at least, who care about the truth, like they say you do, and those of us who claim that we are believers of the way and truth of life, we have to start getting honest about things. Now, this is from Less Known Mysteries, posted a video playlist, Mysteries, May 4th. Obsidian is a natural volcanic glass formed when lava high in silica cools quickly, preventing crystal growth. Creating a black mirror, by the way. Check out what's going on here. There's no audio to this video anyways, to begin with. And oh my gosh, you missed it. You guys all missed it, but there's other ones. There's an entity right here. These are things reflecting off it. Either they're coming out of it or they're reflecting off it. Which I believe they're mostly reflecting off the black mirror. Look at that thing. Wow. You can see that? The two eyes and all that? And there's another thing here. This gets going to get much better. If you say, oh, no, it's pareidolia, you just wait. There's entities on the ground, too, in the rocks. That thing right there is a face. It's not his face. You might see it better here with the eyes. My God, I got a lot of things to share with you. I got a lot of things to share with you. All praise and glory to the Lord of all spirits. The greatest name, Jehovah, Jesus the Christ, Emmanuel, amazing. And it has nothing to do with religion. You have to start hearing what I have to say, because I am not teaching you or sharing religion to you. I'm telling you there really is a God. This is wild. If you take a really close look, this is his hands. They're pink. He's looking that direction, which would be, I guess, to your right, if it's depending how it comes out. And there's an entity right here, and there's one right there. You can see it's black. And there's a white face. Mirror, mirror on the wall. And it's just let's go back here. Watch this again. See, most people don't know what they're looking at, but there's actually two eyes and a head right here, kind of cone head thing going on, and there's another one. And these entities do stack up. And by the way, the Vatican knows about it. When I show you a mural on the Sistine Chapel, you are going to go, oh yeah, they know about it. But the next 3 minutes, I mean, look, if you take, man, there's, I got to break this down. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, or maybe you can. No, God Almighty, Lord Jesus. And here's the thing, you guys, this video, when I'm done with it, I hope that you're smart enough to share this with people. Now, I never cared about having a following. There was a time last year when I had almost 4,000 followers until they took my channel down because I was speaking the truth. It's very important that you get this, that you find a way to copy this video and send it to other people. If you don't know how to copy it and put it in your hard drive and save it and share it with other people, put it on your own channels and all that, then at least send it my direction to my channel. Yeah, tell them to sub and all that kind of stuff. Whatever, you sub, whatever. Listen, this is bigger than Michael Adams and how many subs I have and how popular I am. Freaking that dude, these one of those. I mean, there's this. It's a brow. There's his black, and his mouth, and just one of those kind of Bigfoot grassman looking things that people claim it is. I'm telling you something. Those people, a lot of those people that are part of this Bigfoot community, they are part of the steering the official narrative and getting us to think that the Bigfoot is a freaking flesh and blood thing and all that. You just wait. You just wait. You keep it up. You just keep it up with me. Stay focused with me, because what I'm about to share with you, what other people have shared, and what God has somehow mystically is directing me to this stuff. By the way, in the ground there's one, which, by the way, I'm totally convinced that the reason why they designed cameras in the first place was to capture spirits. It's interesting in our own computer screen is it has look at that pop out. Look at the two eyes, and just look how the face just pops out. Just for a second. And it's not just because of the the contour. Now check this out. This is from Mr. Butterbud. That's what he goes by. And God has taught him how to really draw out these spirits. And I'm totally convinced when it comes to this geoengineering and those chemtrails that it's not about blocking out the sun. It's about helping to have these things be manifested and be able to see for part of their plans. Look what we're looking in here. This is the sky. Look what this is not fake. The only thing this guy did was tweak a little bit of it to help bring out the images, because of coloration, they hide in the colors, they hide in the abstract forms, just like leaves and trees and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? What am I trying to say here? So that it's not this. There's a lot of confusion going on within the clouds and within the tree lines, and so if you want to find spirits, you have to go at the forest edge to find them, not going deep into the forest, although you can once in a while interact with them. But if you want to capture an images, you really have to capture them on the forest of the edge, unless you have one of those places. It's just, I guess, one of their realms where they have the tree structures and just all these other things. I'm telling you, don't be trying to make buddies with these things and think that they're your little pets or your slaves, because it's a bad idea. Solomon learned about this, and this helped. They created their first temple after David. Remember, and the Solomon seal, and at Solomon's temple, and he conjuring up all these spirits, or we call demons, and all this kind of stuff. Who do you think actually built those megalithic structures? People? Look at the size of this entity. This is in the sky. Do you see him? Because he looks an awful lot like what we call a Bigfoot. Do you see him? There's his eye. There's his nose, his little pushed-in nose, puggy nose. There's the ridge of his nose. There's the brow. There's the brow. There's the puff of the tuft of his hair, all this hair. There's his mouth. There's his chin. There's his long neck. There's the long shoulder. Excuse me. And there's the see the long arm and the fingers. The people talk about with Bigfoot, they have these big ass hands, these big long arms, and this almost human-like face. And when you see them, it's like, oh no, they don't belong. Okay, that's fair enough. And there's dread and fear and all that. And didn't other people, like the prophets of the Old Testament, talk about interacting with these angels and these spirits and feeling the same kind of dread? Oh, what Ezekiel talk about and others talk about? I'm going to tell you something when you get done watching this stuff, and just wait, because they know about this. If they've known about these things for a long freaking time, and everyone's like, "Well, what's the mystery?" And the government's hiding. No, it's been hiding in plain sight, and you and I have been too busy being slaves. There's another one of his buddies. You see, there's his eye and his nose and that popping out of his shoulder and that. But this is long arm. You can see him reaching out like he's tossing out or grabbing all these other entities that are in this long line. And some look like Bigfoot. And some look like God knows what. All these other crazy things that we film and, you know, and people film these spears and all that. Man, look at that one right there. This long duro or neuro nose or whatever they call it. There's another one right there. This is an amazing one that people might call lion man or dog man. This is in the sky. This is not pareidolia. There ain't no way in hell you can call that first image that I just showed you, that big giant thing that looks like a Bigfoot, in the sky pareidolia. By the way, Mr. Butterbud has filmed not just one or two, but he has dozens, if not maybe 100 or more videos of these things. Now check out what you're looking at here. Just wait. Just wait. Because what you think you're looking at right now, you're not. Now here it comes. Now you're looking at them. You see that? Here's his ear, there's his eyes, and his snout or nose, and his frowny face. And he's got either like a lion man or a dog man. Now check this out. Along with these other spirits going right through here. But you can't deny the fact that that's a spirit. And that's got an eye, and that's got a nose, and it's got a face. Well, you could if you want to be dishonest, but look at that one. Look at that one right there with the two eyes, and that's when you got the almost like that clown. People talk about this clown face. I filmed one of these things down on the ground, on the ravine on the edge of Kroger's in the middle of my town with a frickin' white face, like that. His puffy eyes, and there's his puffy hair and his white face. There's the two eyes, his nose, his mouth. Got the frogman looking thing here. You got this thing that's, you know, it looks, but there actually is something there. Don't know what the hell you would call it. Is that the lion man? I'm telling you, look at that. That is a giant, massive spirit. Now, people will say, though, that's the Nephilim. Maybe it is the Nephilim. I don't know about you, but me and a whole lot of other people have prayed and asked God to loosen his mighty angels to protect us. His mighty angels. You know, my hope and praise in the afterlife, if I just have the moment, just have a chance to be with God in his kingdom. I don't deserve it. I'm not just, but I'm not a high priest. He's the only high priest. I'm not meant to be all these things. I just meant to search for him and get back to him. That's my whole job. I am to help anybody else along the way. But you can imagine in the New Jerusalem, in heaven, in God's creation, it's going to be so mind-blowing. It's not just going to be pretty flowers and nice fields and beautiful plants. It's going to be mind-blowing. There's going to be all sorts of things. God is infinite in His creation. In this plane of existence, we only see a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what it actually is. That thing is in the sky. Look at him. Look at his nose. Look at his eyes. And that's not artist rendering. And that's not something from the movie. There's a dude filmed for in the sky. And I know that we can do this because I filmed entities in the stars. Which means the stars are not light years away. They lie to us about everything. You have to stop listening to the mainstream media. You have to stop listening to NASA. You have to stop listening to any of those people because their job is not to tell you the truth, but to steal, kill, and destroy the truth from you. And to keep you dumbed down slave thinking you know what's going on. You and I don't know what's going on at all. You listen to all these experts in the Bigfoot community, and they are psychologists and anthropologists, and they got all these degrees, and somehow we're now supposed to think, wow, they're special. No, the only thing they're been good at is mimicking like parrots. None of these people that are called Bigfoot experts and all that, none of them that say that they create these portals and all this, not a single one of them ever caught as brilliant an image as that and shared it with you. This guy did it. This guy only got like 1,000 subs. This guy's doing it and sharing it with you. That's time and effort, and it's got to be the Spirit of God for him to do it, because there's no, you know what? When you share the truth with people, this is what happens. They hate you. They despise you. They reject you. They think you're a joke. And you still do it. Why do we still do it? Why do we still share the truth with the people? It's because we love God and we love you and we want you to know the truth. We don't want anything from you. We don't want to sell coffee mugs with some Bigfoot on it or some dog man on it. We're not trying to sell stories to you and all that. We're trying to tell you something. And this world is not only bigger than what you imagine, there is an answer to all this. And most of the people that I'm discovering who really get down to the nitty-gritty of these things and really capture the most amazing of pictures are believers in Jesus. They might not understand fully who Jesus is and what he said at death, but they believe in Jesus and they're working their way there. And I'm telling you, it has zero to do with church. If you get yourself ensnared in church, you're going to lose the truth. Look at that portrait and that ears, and you see the eye, and it's almost got the dog man. It's kind of got like this doggish face. And there's that frog man. I mean that he looks like a frog man. I tell you, jeez. Look at that. And there it is. He's this like lion. He's like this dog thing. He's holding this other entity. It's just amazing. And he's got video after video. Once you train your eyes on what to look for and look for the eyes and the faces, and you realize this is not pareidolia, and this is not puffed faces of clouds like lambs and crocodiles. These are real spirits in the sky. And when you hear that song, Spirits in the Sky, or Spirit in the Sky, then everyone says, oh, he's talking about Jesus. And all. Jesus is not in the sky. He's in New Jerusalem. You understand that? And the Spirit is those who accept Him. But if you think it's about being a monk, a priest, or a pope, or a patriarch, or a pastor, you are deceived. And here's the other thing: you need to walk away from these people because they don't have all the answers. Now, yeah, there's spiritual warfare, and it's very important. But you are the one. If you really believe in Jesus, if you put all your faith and hope in Jesus, you have all the spiritual armaments. That's the whole armament of God. And then through Jesus, you have a right to keep these at bay. But I'm going to tell you something. They're not going anywhere. They've been here all along, and they're not going anywhere. And a lot of these people, they marry these things. Women actually, through every culture, marry these things. Every culture marries these things. And so what it really was, what Christians would call it, demon possession. Spirit possession. And look at that. This the rock there that reminds me. The guy's really been blessed. We've really been blessed with this dude and him doing what he's doing. I mean, I'm telling you that that's one of the greatest gifts that's ever been given to us and humanity, and it's right there in front of our faces. Look at his eye. Look at. He's like reaching out, either grabbing these entities or throwing them out. We say, "Oh, he's my buddy. They love me." Now, listen. Get right with God first, for real this time. Don't play games. Don't act like you're something special. Well, they talk to me. I'm sure they talk to you. But you know what? There's a lot of people out there who act like they know what they're talking about, but they never show you the evidence. They just regurgitate the latest Zachary Sitchin, Knights of Malta, Grandmaster Deceiver. Look at that, people. Look at it. That's coming out of the sky. That guy filmed that in the sky, manifesting through using of these chemtrails, what they call, or geoengineering, all these things, those lines that they throw out there, and they're supposed to block the sun? Maybe so. But I tell you one thing, with a little ingenuity and a camera, you can capture these things. You can show these things. Not only that, you can show these things in the stars. And you can show these things on land. And you're like, I don't know. Okay, don't know. Well, how come I've never seen you that for? Because you never bothered to look. You're passing by and kind of glimpsing at the sky. It's not the same as actually staring into the sky and spending time recording it with cameras and really bringing out what you're looking at. Just like the average person has never spent more than 5 minutes directly staring at the edges of the woods and getting your eyes accustomed to all the moving of leaves and branches and all that, to start seeing the shadows and all that, and know where the entities and all that, to film them. Now, anybody's been paying attention to anything that I've been doing, I've showed you things, even these shadow agencies coming out of the rocks. And you should be paying attention to what I'm sharing with you, because it's not just me that's finding this stuff. It's a collection of people finding this stuff, and somehow God leads me to this and to this, and that helps me put the pieces together. Now I haven't tweaked it or anything, I haven't done anything, but you can see this is that image of this thing. There's a dog man or a lion man. It's got these other images down here if you look close. It's like it's holding something, but I don't know if he's holding something, but I know one thing. There's a face starting to appear out here, and this is just a still I took from that little short video. But you can see the eyes. You can see it. The ears. The outline of this body. Somebody else I know is filming this guy, a lion man too. And just remember, Ezekiel and the book of Revelation both talk about angels that have the face of a man, and a lion, and an eagle, and an oxen. And listen, there's a lot more. I was telling people about this. I mean, you can just see that, dude. You can see right there. At first, I thought this was like somebody's head, and then it starts with, oh, it's kind of like the dog in front of the muzzle of a dog. And the line of the oh my gosh. I've done better. If I just so I could draw it out. There's a face right here, and they're stacking. Praise God, praise the Lord of all spirits. And let's remember something: you're a spirit. They don't want you to believe that. They don't want you to know about it. But you're a spirit housed in a meat suit in this plane of existence to make a decision whether or not you really want to be with God or you want to play God. If you want to play God, they'll let you do that. You can get what you want here in this world, and it's going to be nothing but a pile of dung and cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Second rate. I need to take a break here and pee. But when I come back, we're going to now look at this. This is was the Last Judgment or whatever of Michelangelo, whatever. And in this painting, someone found in that one YouTube channel, which I can't remember now, or the Facebook group. I'm sorry, guys. But you guys, maybe while I'm taking a pee, I'll remember. Okay, I'm back. Man, I gotta tell you, I'm just really, really jacked up and excited. I'm excited to learn more of God's creation, and also the validation that what's coming out of the Vatican is half-assed, backwards, and wrong. Now, this is supposed to be. Let's see if I can find the proper place for this. Man, the number of spirits that dude found in the sky. God really bless that dude, Mr. Butterbud, as he goes by, with eyes to see. So this is So this is called the Last Judgment, painted in 1535 to 1541. Is a fresco by the Italian Renaissance painter Michelangelo, that everyone's heard of, covering the whole altar wall of the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican. It depicts the second coming of Jesus, and if you've really read your Bible, you know it already happened, and thank God it happened. And it's not me telling lies. I'm telling you the truth. The final eternal judgment of God and of all humanity. Well, this looks interesting. We're here what someone freely discovered. Look what's in this damn caves. Some might say that kind of looks like a Bigfoot. There's this one dude, a man, supposedly. I mean, he's the strangest looking bodies of a man, but what the heck? And he's going into purgatory, Hades and all that. But we know, but read the Bible, Jesus already conquered it, and Satan has already been conquered, and the false prophet, and the beast system. And I know there's still a beast system here, but it's been conquered, and you can conquer by putting your faith in Jesus, allowing heaven to be within you. You are the temple. Notice, though, couple things that really stand out to me, who's doing research about Bigfoot and all the four spirits, is this thing stacking up. 1, 2, 3, stack 4 entities, and there's a man and all that. And what's this? Is this balls or something? Are these entities? What is this? What is this thing? Oh, these are just black people. No, they're not black people. You can see by their feet, they ain't black people. And nothing wrong with black people. Anybody says that the black skin of black people is Mark of Cain, you got it all half-assed backwards. Once again, you listen to the high priest of Mystery Babylon again. Look at that thing right there. There's these spirits and all these things. You find these footprints and all that. You say, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. The image of what people call a Bigfoot. And what's fascinating about that thing that's called Bigfoot You see the eyes and the nose and the mouth and the brown and the big old hands and fingers and all that, and throwing these other spirits or catching them. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know because I don't know. Because they haven't been revealed to me what they're doing. But there's spirits all around, and that's this. But when we look at the fresco, right? They say, "Oh yeah, look at it. That's what it is, in a cave." This is somebody, Amber, catch entities stacking up. See the stacking up? You definitely, you got the one here, you got the one here, you got another one here, you got another one here, and it just goes on and up. Like a totem pole, and they tell you the totem pole's about wolves and about eagles and all that kind of stuff, really. What's fascinating about this thing, it's not only that these things in the cave there, guarding the cave, or something like symbolically coming out of the rocks, out of the ground. Kind of like the ones that I've seen personally in my life, coming out of the trees and coming out of the ground. Massive, doing things that are impossible, that nothing that any flesh and blood thing could do. Oh, look at that thing. I wonder what that is, huh? With his cone head and all that. And all these things, you notice that in the sky, for real, what do they look like? They look like that. They don't look like human beings. Most of the spirits and most angels and the messengers of God are made clear, that we are clear to them, the scriptures and all that. They look like what? Eagles and oxen and lions and bulls and men like. They come in all different shapes and sizes, folks. You were the one who's created in God's image. There's a reason why we've been put here in this plane of existence. There's a reason why these things are above us and all around us. There's a reason why, and it's not for us to be dumb sheep. Dumb sheep. What's amazing about this, you got this right here, and you got the other stuff around them. It's amazing when you start seeing what's clearly there. You're not sheep. You live in a box. You're living like a rat. They've convinced you that there is no spirit realm and there is no God. You just shut up, do your told, and listen to all these people who have been turned into their masterpieces of Mystery Babylon, blockheads, where they're all degreed, and they think they got it all figured out. They know everything, which they know nothing. Godless, rejecting God, rejecting God's creation. Look at what you're looking at there. Stacking upon stacking upon stacking. All over the place. I mean, that portrait of that dude, that almost looks like one of those things that you might think is, like it got the cone head and an Egyptian type of looking thing. And then another thing here, this is one of those things that almost looks like an oxen. Just look. They come in different shapes and sizes, folks, just like they do down here. The things that are in the sky are the same things I catch in the stars, and they also catch down on the ground. They're all connected. It has something to do with water. Now, Jesus made it very clear that these things do not like dry places. And he talks about these people being delivered by these things, and then if you decide to reject the gift that God has given you and the truth, and you go back to your old ways, to the ways of this world, of Mystery Babylon, then what happens? You become 7 times worse. You see, you are a vessel. You yourself are a vessel. I'm talking about the meat suit now. And either you have the Spirit of God in you, where the heaven is now, or you have these things in you. And great, you'll be some big shot. People will think you'll show up into your little conventions, and they'll be like, "He's an expert," right? Let me find this. I'm getting too many of these things. Now, this is one I filmed earlier. Well, last week or on Wednesday, across the street in the neighborhood, and you can see the eye and the eyelid and another eye, and it's this giant entity, this giant spirit behind the tree that I filmed. It's not pareidolia. It's not pareidolia anymore. Then that's pareidolia. You look real careful with that frickin' eye and that nose and that mouth, and you can say, oh, no. And people want to say, oh, it's this monkey man thing and there's some mystery from, and they want you so bad to believe this. Why do they want you so bad to believe in what's real? Why? Bigfoot Odyssey. I was on the chat, and one of the things I said, and I was trying to get before they closed up, I said, tree knocks. People think that these things are walking around knocking on tree knocks with some big old club or something. They're knocking with inside the tree. They live inside the trees. They live inside the ground, and they live inside the root system. They need water. They need other elementals in order for at some point for them to manifest for you to see. You say, what about the people when they claim that they shot one of these? Maybe they did shoot one of these things. Maybe. Abraham supposedly ate with God, with Jehovah, and two angels. Two angels were there in Lot when they destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Do you think these massive things that they were not called from God, that they couldn't wreak havoc in this plane of existence? Or build these giant edifices? Instead, they give us these frescoes, these quote-unquote frescoes, that is supposedly, this is supposed to be what heaven is, or the second coming is, or last judgment, and they'll make sure for sure that you're going to keep on thinking it's in the past. And they're going to keep on making sure you're thinking about a bunch of naked dudes. And isn't it interesting? A bunch of naked dudes. Like a whole club of sodomites that have figured out how to take over the truth. You see, it's all hidden in plain sight. All right? It's all hidden in plain sight so that you can recognize what's really going on. But you're in total denial of it. But you got a whole bunch of these priests of Mithraism and of the Druids and all these other things that all gotten together along with the high priests of the Jewish mysticism and all that, and created this BS. But they know that this, obviously, know the true story is real. They had to make sure that Jesus' story was real and make sure it was on a piece of paper, but do everything in their power to convince you that you know the truth, and that you never understand what the Bible says. You think you do. You think it's all about this in the future. It's in our day. Look how terrible it is. Yeah, it's terrible. But listen, this place is terrible because there's terrible people and because they choose to not tell the truth. But they also, to blatantly share the truth. You blatantly share the truth, you become an outcast like me. That's the way it's going to be. And they know that. And they've made it, but at the same token, they're absolutely obligated to warn you one way or the other ahead of time what their intents are and what the truth is. So they got to hide the truth in plain sight. So if you actually read the Bible for what it says, what it really says, stop listening to your pastors and priests. Stop listening to me. Just start reading that thing. Just remember audience relevancy, who it's about, who's being talked about. Take yourself out of it. And it'll become extremely clear. Now, whether you decide to believe it or not, that's up to you, between you and God. But at least you know the truth. You know what? I'm just a dude, man. I'm just a guy that's just, that's been around the block. I know better. I know exactly where. Look at this thing. This is part of that fresco. Are we seeing all these dudes? No, we're not, but we're seeing things like that, huh? How's come that's buried in the corner over there? Wink, wink, wink. What's really going on? Do you see flying saucers and aliens? No, no, no. Listen, if the fresco was painted properly and it looked like this, if it looked like that, what do you think people would think about it? How do you think the average person would handle that? They go, oh, that's frightening, that's scary, that's awful. Right? Because you have not been acclimatized, you haven't been conditioned, you haven't even propagandized properly. Everything they've been told is a lie. They made sure of that. Yeah, there's all the outer space and all that, huh? NASA? Where's NASA talking about this? Where's NASA talking about this? Where's the Vatican talking about this? Where's everybody that's supposed to be somebody talking about this? Well, no, I'm not talking about it. But it's just average Joes like me and Mr. Butterbummin. Bud, the word Bud. Bud. I mean, listen. Literally, this is an image I filmed in the stars 3 years ago. I remember I was 4 years ago. 2019, I remember I was shell shocked. I was in tears when I finally saw these things coming out of the stars. When God finally taught me how to, through X amount of magnification, or sort of tweaking of the contrast and the brightness and the hue and all that. And this comes out, and you say, well, it's blurry. Well, remember, it's in a star that allegedly is light years away. Which cannot be. It cannot be light years away. And for me to capture an image with a punched in nose, it's almost got like fangs on it. That's his mouth. There's his two eyes pushed in, deep recessed eyes. And look at the cone head right there. And this is some kind of crown thing. I don't believe it's his ears. I think it's wearing some kind of crown. And it's in the damn stars. And that's just one. And that's the one I always show, and if I will get to it at some point, I filmed multiple entities in stars. Now, why is somebody like me, who's a nobody, the loser of losers in this world, able to find this? Tell me. Somebody said, well, you're gifted and you're special. No, I am not special. I'm not gifted. God is gifted. God is special. I am nothing. I am nobody. God's made sure of it that I am crushed beyond belief. There's nothing for me to be egotistical about. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. When I share this stuff with you, it's not because I think I'm better than you. It's because I care about you. And I want you to hear the truth and not all this BS and this nonsense and all this storytelling and all this horror movie thing and all this. We got something really going on. Man, remember this image? Yeah, it's nobody. Except for one thing. It's my neighbor's backyard, and this is a Bigfoot thing coming out. So I might call it a dog man. Whatever. And whatever it is, if you look at it, and it's blurry, but I'm not going to mess around with the image too much. I said blow it up, and there's its nose. There's his mouth, and there's his two beady eyes. You can see some white of his eyes, and the crown and all that. And I guess either that's a dome, it's got whatever dome head, cone head, or there's another entity fixed on it. As always, there's always another entity fixed on it. And there's another one. If you look up right there, there's another one right there shooting up the tree. And you say, well, what's wrong with you? Why they happen in your neighborhood? They're happening in everybody's neighborhood who's got trees, who's got water, who's got grass, who's got halfway decent soil. Why do you think they want to ruin the soil and the trees and everything? They want to, these people, the rulers of evil, want to destroy all of God's creation. Do you understand that? It's not just you and I with their magic potion, with the poisonous cup in the poignard that everyone's taken and saying, oh yeah, the invisible buggity bug thing with the V, the flying V has got me. You know how many people I know that have died from that magic injection? This is just one of many of these entities that I've captured on the ground or in the, you know what I mean? And I have not even for the past 3 years done it. Last week was the first week I bothered to film any of these entities. And already, you know, I get this thing, you know, right across the street, about 100 yards away from me, filming in there, and there's this big old entity with 2 eyes hiding behind a tree. Massive. Just like this thing is massive. With his buddies. And his big hands. You see his thumbs and his fingers. Look how huge the hands are. We were talking how big the Bigfoot's hands are and all that. Well, look how big this spirit hands are. Ooh, and what does he do? He's throwing or catching, or what is he doing with these entities? Dude, these are filmed above your head. That's what's going on right above your head. I want to ask you again, why are not Big Sasquatch Chronicles talking about it? Why isn't that Bigfoot Odyssey talking about this? Why are not any of these people talking about this? And why are they ostracizing me and not wanting me to be on board with this whole thing? Except for maybe the truth they don't want. Because they're afraid of what people will say, and they might lose their money and their credibility. But I'm showing you actually credible things. They're not. They're storytelling. That's what they're doing. And most of them, I gotta know, deep down inside the recess of their souls, they know damn well this is not what they're saying. This is something I filmed in 2017 in the neighborhood. You can see his dark eyes, his reset, the nose. And he's got his other buddies and the glassy frog eyes. And it just goes on and on and on. And you say, well, this is not a very good picture. I can't help it. This is how it turned out. This is what it is. And I tweaked it out a little bit, the color note, to bring out the things. In contrast, to bring out the shadow entities that were in the shadows. And they come in different shapes and sizes. And guess what? You and I don't have a choice in the matter. Either we have the choice that we only have is either we come to grips with this, we accept what's really going on, or we keep playing games with each other, or letting all these people, a lot of these people that are in this Bigfoot community and all that, I don't know if you realize this, but they have like military backgrounds and an intel. And they get financed and paid, and they end up afterwards paying for these private organizations, and they do these little jobs, and that is to jerk our chain and say, oh look, it's just, you know, it's just a monkey ape, it's just a, you know, a man in a suit. And by the way, Patty, when it showed up around 1966, what else showed up in the exact time period and the exact region? Oh yeah, the Church of Satan. Is it really the Church of Satan? Or something else going on and convincing everybody it's Church of Satan? Now, on top of that, that same day, Wednesday, and I didn't spend an enormous amount of time. I never spend an enormous amount of time when it comes to filming because I don't want to spend an enormous amount of time. I find it absurd and ridiculous to go tromping 5 miles in the woods and think that you're going to get and find images of Bigfoot having an interaction with them when you can have it happen in your own neighborhood. But you're afraid of what people are going to think about you, so you go tromping out of the woods, and you want to have a thrill ride, don't you? But right here, in my neighborhood, and just right there, and then, man, it kind of looks familiar, doesn't it? See if we can find Mr. Dogman again in the sky. There's so many things in this sky. But no. I'm losing it. Okay, there it is. There's this thing. With its ears and all that. You have to look. Now remember, there's a lot more going on here. You know, you can say, oh, it's all pareidolia, but you can't say, in the end of the day, if you're honest, intellectually honest, the thing right there, that you see it, that thing right there is a frickin' pareidolia. You can blatantly see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the crown of the brow, the chin, the hairy chin, the long neck, the long fingers. Mr. Bigfoot in the sky. Not a flying Bigfoot. You see, here's the thing. They're lying to you about this whole thing, that these things are flesh and blood. They're spirits. They've always been spirits, and they always will be spirits. And the problem is, if you start telling the truth about the spirits, then maybe you might start believing in God and start realizing that the government and your churches and all the institutions of this Roman Empire that you live in have lied their butts off to you in order to slave you. They have deceived you and deceived you and deceived you. And I'm telling you, if you look at this image and you look at careful, there are so much going on here. This thing right here, this thing's just fascinating. If you look at that, it almost looks like an oxen. It gets crazier and crazier the more you look at things and you look at it properly. And they had damn fresco on it in the Vatican that shows these same damn things. In the ground, in the caves. Hiding Hades, right? Being part of, or tormenting, inviting you into hell. Of course, they don't want to tell you the truth that hell's already conquered. What's really going to happen is they want you to join their parishes, because Jesus said, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And in all that, it says very clear that it's not about joining a church or following other men and what they say and their wisdom. No, it's about following God. Is this the right image I want? Oh, here's just some of the images of faces in a dog star that I filmed. You can see one right there, right? There's another one with long faces, and there's another face. These aren't even my good ones. But they're right there. Oh, no, it's all pareidolia. Make sure, you know, everyone parrots that government phrase to cause people to be afraid and not to think for themselves. It's all pareidolia. It's all pareidolia. I don't know, I gotta find other pictures. What is the picture I'm looking for anyways? Maybe I'm starting to lose steam here. There's so much more to talk about. So much more. And I know I'm not doing a good job. I know I've got an abrasive personality. I know I'm a jerk. I don't mean to be a jerk. I don't mean to be this person that I am. I don't want to be the person that I am. You know, really, I like to be like everyone else. I would like to be liked by everyone, but it's not going to happen. And I can't lie. God has put it in me that I can't frickin' lie. You know what? And because I can't lie, no one's going to be inviting me to the party. You making up BS and pretending that, what is the picture I'm looking for? I don't know, maybe, you know. So, you know, you see all these things and these entities and shadows, people sitting in it's all this high strangeness. It's because you're dealing with angels. You're dealing with spirits. Ghosts. Ghosts, spirits, same thing. Okay? There's another name for it. There's more scarier names, say ghost. But spirits and ghosts, same thing. They're spirits. And you should be afraid if you don't know what the hell you're doing and you're not close to God, because I guarantee you things are coming your way if they haven't come yet, and they're only going to magnify until you decide to set your ground between them. And if you think that you're some magical wizard, the next Merlin or the next magical witch that's going to be able to summon these things, manage these things, and have them do your will, you're only going to have foreseeing, and then you're going to get the crap beat out of you one way or the other, and you're going to ruin people's lives. So what I'm trying, I guess I'm looking at is, I don't know what I'm looking at. I guess we'll just go back to my channel, because that's what I'm trying to get at. Because I want to make a point. anyways, I'll find a picture later for the next recording or some other recording. But there's another entity right there. If you look real close, let's see if it'll open up for me. It's going to take a time. It will not open up in me. Who knows? No, not change. I thought you were able to look at the thing. I was able to magnify it. Oh well. Anyways, one point which I was getting at, when I magically lose my my wind, I was on fire 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, before I started reading all this stuff. I was like, man, I'm sharing this stuff. I know I got it. These things are like, you can see, this is the middle of the day. That one's in the middle of the day. It was a cloudy day, misty day. This is the middle of the day in town. You know what? I didn't even see either one of them when I took the picture, but I felt their presence. And that's it. And they're everywhere. And there's no changing any of this. There's no, you can have all these people make up all sorts of crap. Here's and say, oh no, it's not real. But this is the one thing the one that I filmed with the thing on top of it. And you see there's that muzzle and that wolf man thing, that dog man thing. Is this what I wanted to share with you? Somebody from, was it Bigfoot Odyssey or something, said, what is that for? And I sent that that image. And I'm like, well, let me see. So you have this, and you have the head popping out of the tree. You have to always got to have the little guy and something hooked onto these things, because they're never going to be alone. There's eye siren in my neighborhood. And so I gave him these two pictures. I said, that's why. They never returned. Now, you can say it's pareidolia all you want, okay? You can say it's pareidolia all you want. If that's fine. But that ain't pareidolia, and that's in the sky. Whether you believe it or not, and people are filming that stuff in the sky, and I filmed that entity and that star, and multiple other entities. Entities that look like Bigfoot. Next time I'll show some of the eyes and the faces that look like Bigfoot coming out of the stars. There's something that connects you to the stars, the sky, the elements, and the ground, and they go and they travel through whatever that thing is in the stars. They need water. So it doesn't make sense that they'd be burning balls of gas. Well, you say, well, this is, we did all these calculations, and this what we know what this and that looks like, and this type of gas and this kind of element burns. No, you don't. And here's another thing. There ain't anybody who's ever, to this date, has ever proved an existence of light years. But people still buy into it. They buy into a lot of stupid stuff. But they're there, folks. The spirits are there. And the spirit realm is dynamic, if not more dynamic, than all the other physical creation of all the different animals here. Whether, mammals or insects or fish, etc., reptiles, etc., all the many, many, many different varieties, and all the ones that have gone extinct. And just imagine how diverse the spirit realm is. Which hopefully, if you abide and fall in line with God and accept God, not play church. And by the way, when you follow God, it's the promises you have to carry your cross, and the world will be enmity with you. They'll hate you. And you're going the right direction if people aren't liking you. And they're going to think that you're preaching to them when you're saying, no, listen, everything you read, everything you believe in, all this nonsense and all this fairy tales and all this, listen, they're not telling you the truth. Most people don't even mean it. It's the blind leading the blind. I'm asking you to open your eyes. Your eyes are not this computer. Your eyes are not the television. Your eyes are not the books you read. The eyes are the reality is not there. The eyes and the faces are right above you, all around you. They're observing you, they're watching you, they're wanting to. You think, why do you think these people in the past worship these things? And they end up having giant human sacrifices and sacrificing house. What do you think is going on right now? The past 2 years, when there's a whole giant worldwide L down, the L down, in which every country was L downed, and everybody's forced to take this poison from the poisonous cup. The ventum. The root word of it's all about this, the poison of a spider or a snake. And why do so many people end up getting with all these terrible side effects and dying and etc.? What do you think this is really about? What did the Pope mean when he said, "Oh, if you don't take this, the big V, that you're committing suicide"? What does it mean by that? And if you notice, as he's progressed, it's not just because he's got old. The past 2 years, because he's committed so many sins, you can see he's turning into a troglodyte. He's serving these things, and he's lying about these things, and he's got damn Frisco that doesn't look anything like it, to make sure that people are focusing on naked men and naked boys with their pee-pee showing, so when they can get together, they can sodomize each other. And also for you to love the naked man and naked body and naked boys, and be accustomed to that, and not to be accustomed to what's really in the sky, which you're looking at right now. And what's really on the edge of the woods, and what's really popping out of the trees and popping out of the ground, and making those tree knocks. And I keep hearing over again, well, if you say you're an expert, you're not. Well, at what point it is an expert and what point is not? I can tell you one thing. What I'm telling you is true. And I know that when I hear people saying about all these stories about these physical things and all that over and over again, there's a giant disconnect. I hear over and over again people shooting at these things and they don't die. Like they're spirits, like the bolt's just going right through them. And spirits, yes, they can manipulate things, but it's been proven over and over and over again in history of man. How do you think they built the giant ziggurats and pyramids of the past? You think it was, we don't have the technology to do it today. We don't know what's going on. It's all that stupid and dumb. Yeah, well, and just imagine talking what I'm talking about and being a professor at some, the head of the anthropology department or whatever it may be. And I'm talking this way. You know how long I would last? They get rid of me in a heartbeat. Why would they get rid of me in a heartbeat? Because it contradicts the official narrative. Because that thing that's in the sky right there with the big ass hands and the face like Bigfoot contradicts their narrative. And they don't want you to know what's really going on. This goes back to Patty now, 1966, and all the damn things that were going on. Remember, we were just starting out right earlier, and we got to start this new program. We'll call everyone conspiracy theorists, and we'll say everything's pareidolia. And we'll just throw these fancy words that, and phrases, just like 1984, just new speak and new think and everything else that goes on. And people can't even think what's going on because they can't see, or if they do see, they don't want to think about it, because what it means to a conscience, what it means is that you're going to have to come out of Mystery Babylon, and you're going to have to pay the price to come out of it. But listen, coming out of Mystery Babylon and having eternal life in the presence of the Lord of all spirits is a hell of a lot better than being the big chief on the dung pile here for a season. And that's all it'll ever be. It's all it will ever be. And all they do is paint illusions upon illusions upon illusions. And yet right around you, right before you. And you know what? Instead of acting like just, hippy-dippy dude thing, or, Mrs. Witch or Mr. Wizard or Warlock, why don't you just get right with the Lord of all spirits and just follow him, what he has to say? I'm going to guarantee you, if he's going to take you out of Catholicism, he's going to take you out of all the major religions. He's going to, you're going to walk alone like Abraham in the wilderness. Like Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness. What was around him at the time? What was he dealing with? Well, here we go. What are the wild creatures of the forest? What are they, these wild creatures? Are they all just simply just bears and foxes and wolves and raccoons and squirrels? Is that all it is? Or could you open up your eyes and finally see what is all out there? And be just blown away and realize that you're in a very special place, you're in a very special position, and you have an opportunity to be eternally in the presence of the Lord of all spirits, because you know inside you there's something different than your meat suit. You know. When you talk about head speak, thoughts, what does that speak? The Norwellian thing they were talking about in Bigfoot. Anyways, what they say with these spirits that are talking to him. Well, you know what? Is the spirit talking to your spirit? That's what's going on. Most of us are just spiritually dead. So it doesn't happen. And when I do hear the spirits, you know what? We act like there's some big deal. But they make their gurgly and say this, that, and the other. You know, next time you ask them, who is Jesus? Do you love Jesus? Ask this question. Ask them if they're demons or not. Or did they serve Jesus? Did they serve the Lord of all spirits? And then you know what? You'll see how fast they come and go. It really is a remedy. If you want, you're having trouble with these spirits and all that, you have to turn to Jesus. Not to some guy who has a magical, this is the things you must pray. No, all that's BS. You know what really works? You call upon the name of Jesus and say, listen, Jesus, and start talking to him like normal, like a human being, like your father, like another human being. But so he's not a human being, he's the Lord of all spirits, but you talk to him that way, like he's real, and you say, man, hey, listen, I'm being attacked by these things, Lord Jesus. I need your protection. Do something to these things, Jesus. And keep on asking him until you realize he's doing it. And believe me, when you get attacked by these spirits, you'll know just his name is Jesus is real. Just like, you know how many people have come to the Lord through, quote unquote, having experiences with these things? I think half the time the reason we have experiences with these things is so to force you to come to him. What do they do for religion? It's a snare to trap you from ever to get to know him. They don't want you to know him. Because once you know who God is, and you realize you're the temple, the Spirit of Heaven's now in you, you don't need to go to these places and be entertained, to be trapped and ensnared and put in a trance and donate your money to their fiefdoms. There's a million other things that you can do. But right now we're in such a state in this new world order that it's going to take each and every one of us to have enough bravery to pull away from all this stuff and follow Jesus. Not mainstream media, which is a propaganda apparatus for the government. So when they start telling you about UFOs and outer space and aliens and all that stuff, they're not telling you the truth about anything. They want to push this whole this thing that came from that dude. This was Barbara Bush's father. What's his name again? Aleister Crowley, right? And this little alien thing, this demon buddy, it looks an awful lot like him, doesn't it? Yeah. They want to. You realize the amount of effort it took for them. They're murderers. Just I would not be involved with anything that's going on in Eurasia. Without God, guess what you will be? You will become materialistic, self-centered, and you'll go out and kill each other for nothing. When the creation of God, if you follow God, it becomes more and more amazing. It's lonely, but as far as the world, you and the rest of they're just like, they're not walking the path that you're walking. There's nothing you do about it. You don't want to walk the world's path. You really don't want to walk the world's path. Look what you're looking at. Look clearly. This is in the sky. This is in the trees. This is in the ground. This is in the rocks. When the Bible talks about these things living and things in the ground, it wasn't kidding when it said in the ground. It wasn't talking about caves. Although there might have been some things that lived in caves. These spirits don't need caves, and they don't need any other stuff. They can live in the rocks. They live in the soil. They live in the trees. They migrate and navigate through these, like the hairs and the root systems and the hairs of these trees, and they go from one to another. They can pop out and go when the thing is right and go from one place to another. They follow you. You have this over and over. These people, Bigfoot researchers, and I know people having these encounters. They were paralleling me, and I could hear them. I hear the footsteps, but I couldn't see them. They're magical. They were these. Why are these people pushing all this stuff that's just is so absurd? You know it's so absurd. Why do they keep pushing something and cluttering the truth of what's really going on? Why do we have such a hard time accepting that there's a whole big part of this world is called the spiritual realm? What did they do to us? Well, they said it was because of the fluoride in the water. Well, then stop drinking the fluoride in the water. Or start listening to the Spirit of God and the Lord of all spirits. Start listening to people that believe in Him, and you'll make the things you'll see. What's going on with that Patty thing? Why did they present that to us and make sure it was on the television, it was in the theaters, all over the place? Why did they push that thing? They did push that thing. That wasn't some independent thing. There's something that just magically happened and everybody all of a sudden was real. No, they pushed that on you. Why did they push that on you? Think about it. And why do they not tell you the truth about this? Look at that. That's in the sky. It's undeniable. And it looks a hell of a lot like a Bigfoot, doesn't it? What did they do to create the situation, which I believe was some kind of blood right? How much did they do to sacrifice to make that thing come up and show up for a little bit so they could make this video? How much would it take for someone else to do the same thing? Like have massive wars and have people freaking poison themselves with this magical poker. How many would it take for these things to start manifesting for you to see even more and more? It's time to wake up. It's time to seriously wake up. Now, there's a lot of people who are going to be they're going to challenge me. A lot of them actually paid. A lot of them are people that are a part of the government to cause confusion and division and to cause people to think of things that aren't real. They're the ones that also starts these movements. They always start all these movements. And they have their conventions. And they have the money and the resources. And the ability, and then they have these experts with their great knowledge in the sciences, right? Because science will never fail us. Science is the new religion. Science is the new God. Science, 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 but you listen to these people, and you watch these people, and you think that, well, yeah, they're applying scientific method. No, they're not. They're playing running around the woods. playing with spirits. Then going through the same process over and over again to convince you that they're not spirits. What kind of people are these that keep lying about this? How come the Native Americans and everybody else were telling this for millennia, but they're stupid and we are so much smarter than them? Everything's been reversed. The law of reversal has been applied on us. This is a very important principle in sorcery. This is extremely important stuff to talk about. And it's no longer time. It's no, some kind of kids thing. This is something for passing. Well, it's not really important. I got other things to do. No, you don't got other things to do. You think you got other things to do. You keep running in your treadmill like a rat in a cage, and that's what you are. You're a bipedal rat who's rejected God and a whole part of you. Think about what I'm saying. I know I'm preaching, but I'm desperate in trying to get you just to wake up to what's going on. You understand? I swear to God, it's like it's the superficialness, the shallowness that's all around me, the materialness, the lack of just getting on, calling out to God, get on your knees, talk to God, do something like that. Stop talking to your neighbors, or stop being the blind, being led by the blind. Get right with this world. Get right with God. There's all these worlds terrible. Well, part of it is because we just flat out just tried to reject the Lord of all spirits. You think there might be a problem in that? We rejected the God who created us. Oh, I don't believe in that. Well, it's good. You're smarter than all the rest. You're just smarter than all the rest because you read a few books and you laid in your rat cage, pretending you were something other than you really are. I've watched this over and over again. The egos. The shallowness, the self-importance. I was part of it too. I'm so glad that God drew me out. I'm so glad. Thank you, God, for crushing me. Thank you, God, for destroying me, my health and everything in my life, and bringing me to my knees literally to this moment to see that the reality of what this world is and what the reality of this world is far more interesting than what the people, the experts, and the authorities, the men of our day, the leaders, the priestcraft of Mystery Babylon have to say.
You're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you are going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind.
Jesus.